everyone, it's Sarah and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet our animal puppets. Now the animal puppets are a puppet. They're all shaped the same. They all have the same snout and little bow ties. The difference is the ears. This one is our puppy, and you can make the ears up or you can fold them down like this one. We also have teddy bear ears, little round ears like this. We have kitty cat ears, and we have bunny ears. So what we're going to do is we'll make one puppet because they're all shaped the same, and then I'll also show you how to make the 4 different types of ears. And you can see just by using different colored yarns, you get lots of different looks. Now this is a free crochet pattern on my blog, and you can find that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. To make one of our animal puppets, you're going to need about 3 ounces of a medium weight number 4 acrylic yarn. I have several colors here. This one is Vanna's Choice. Some of these are Red Heart Super Saver, Red Heart Love. We also have some I Love This yarn from Hobby Lobby. And so you can use any medium weight number 4 acrylic yarn. And you're going to need about 3 ounces for your main color. You're going to need just a small amount of white or cream for the snout. Then you can have some brown or black for the nose, mouth, and eyes that we're going to embroidery on. Then you'll need a small amount of another color, which I'm going to use yellow for the bow tie. Now I'm going to be making the kitty cat in purple, but I am going to be showing you how to make all the different ears. And if you want to use a different color for the ears like this one, you certainly can, and it's just a small amount as well. We're going to be stitching today with our H hook, which is a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook, and of course you'll need your needle to embroidery on the face and sew on the ears and the bow tie, and then yes, you'll definitely need your scissors. I'm going to be making the kitty style like I talked about earlier. And the way the puppet is made is we make a front and we make a back and we put them together in order to make the puppet body itself. Then we'll add the snout and the face, and then we'll add the ears. And again, I'm going to show you the kitty ears, and then I'll also show you how to make the doggy ears and the bear ears and the bunny ears as well. That way you can decide which animal you would like to make. And then the last thing we'll do is add our bow tie. We're going to begin with our slip knot, and we're going to chain 18 chains. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 chains. We're going to place a half double crochet in the second chain from the hook. 1, 2, we'll go in, pull up a loop, we'll have those 3 loops, yarn over, and go through all 3 of those loops. Then we'll place 1 half double crochet in each of the chains across. Yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through all 3. So 1 half double crochet in each of the chains across. We have 17 half double crochets because we began in the second chain from the hook. So we have 17. We're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to be alternating half double crochets and front post double crochets. So we'll yarn over and stitch a half double crochet in our first stitch because our chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And now we're going to stitch what's called a front post double crochet. And when you're stitching the front post of a half double crochet, it's a little bit difficult to see your stitch. And we still have front posts even though they're a little bit shorter. So we yarn over, we're going to go around the post and stitch a double crochet. And so what we'll be doing for row 2 is alternating half double crochet, front post, double crochet. So for the next stitch, we're going to stitch a half double crochet in the top of the stitch, and then we'll stitch a double crochet around the post of that stitch. Half double crochet in the next, front post double crochet in the next. And you'll see how those front post double crochets will be sticking up. Half double crochet, front post. There we go, got to get in the right spot. Front post double crochet. Half double crochet in the next. Front post, half double crochet in the next. And we'll repeat this all the way across. Half double crochet, front post, double crochet. Half double crochet, front post, double crochet. Half double crochet, front post, double crochet, and then we'll end with a half double crochet in our last stitch. We still have 17 stitches. We just alternated half double crochet and front post double crochet for row 2. We're going to chain 1 and turn. This is how the back should look, and this is how the front should look. So we chained 1 and turn. For row 3, we're just going to place a half double crochet in each of the stitches across. And when you do a texture stitch like a front or back post, it can be a little bit difficult to find those stitches. And so what you need to do is just follow those stitches on the top. We'll go right in our first stitch because again, our chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And if you follow along the top there, going through those loops, it'll keep your stitch count from getting off. So we're stitching 1 half double crochet, there we go, in each of the stitches across. Here's your back and here's your front. We completed that row of half double crochets, chain 1 and turn. And now what we're going to do for 6 more rows is chain 1, turn, and stitch 1 half double crochet in each of those stitches across. And you're going to have 17 stitches on each row. So we're going to repeat row 3 for 6 more times. I have repeated those 6 additional rows, which brings us up to row 9. I chained 1 and turn. Now for row 10, we are going to stitch 1 half double crochet in each of the stitches across, and then we're going to chain to make the beginnings of our little hands on our puppet. So what we're going to do is we're again going to place 1 half double crochet in each of the stitches across. And then when we get to the end of our row, instead of chaining 1 and turning, we're going to chain 9 chains. We're going to turn, and we're going to place a slip stitch in the second chain from the hook. So there's the first one. So we'll go in, pull up a loop, and then pull that loop through the loop on our hook. And then we'll do this back to the body of our puppet. So 1 slip stitch in each of those chains, working back to the body of the puppet. Alright, so now I've slip stitched in those chains, and now we're going to slip stitch in each of the half double crochets across. And this is going to get us to the other side of our puppet to make the other arm. There we go. 1 slip stitch in each of those half double crochets. And then we're going to chain 9 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And now you can see that we have a place to stitch our stitches in for our arms. Now we're going to turn our work. We're going to place a half double crochet in the second chain from the hook. We'll place a half double crochet in each of those chains, working back to our body of our puppet. There we go. Now we're going to stitch a half double crochet in each of those slip stitches that we stitched. We'll just go right in the top of each of those slip stitches, working across the body of our puppet. I half double crocheted all the way across the body of the puppet, and now I'm going to place 1 half double crochet in each of these slip stitches on this side. There we go. There's our last stitch. Oops. Get in there. There we go. Chain 1 and turn, and this is how it will look. We'll turn. We chained 1, and now we're just going to place 1 half double crochet in each of these half double crochets across. And now you can clearly see the sides of our arms here, our little paws. Since we're doing animals, they're paws. And we'll just stitch 1 half double crochet, working all the way across our first little paw, across the body, and then our second paw, all the way across. There's my row of a solid row of half double crochets. And you're going to have 33 half double crochets. You're going to have 8 plus 17 and 8, and that's going to get you 33 half double crochets. And now what we're going to do is we're going to repeat this row that we did right here 3 more times. 1/2 double crochet in each stitch across, chain 1, turn for 3 more times. I've stitched those additional 3 rows, and now you can see that we have the shape that we need for our paws or arms on our puppet. We're going to chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to slip stitch in the first 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now we're going to half double crochet in the next 17 stitches. So yarn over, go in the next stitch, and stitch our half double crochet. And we're going to stitch these in the next 17 stitches. Oops, there we go. All right, let's make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Now I'm going to count again just to make sure because we want everything to be lined up. So here's my first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. We want this to be lined up in the center of our puppet. All right, so we're going to chain 1, we're going to turn, and we're going to stitch 1/2 double crochet in those 17 stitches. So here we go. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, oops, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and here's our 17th, and chain 1. And see, now we're forming that top of our puppet. So now what we're going to do is we're going to repeat what we did here, the 17 half double crochets, chain 1 and turn for 3 more rows. So chain 1 and turn, 1/2 double crochet in each stitch across for 3 more rows. I've stitched those 3 additional rows of 1/2 double crochet in each stitch across, chain 1 and turn. And now for the next 4 rows, we're going to be decreasing at the beginning and end of each row in order to get that round shape of the top of our puppet. We do that by stitching 2 half double crochets together, which is called a half double crochet decrease. So we'll yarn over, go in the first stitch and pull up a loop. Then we'll go in the next stitch and pull up a loop. You'll have 4 stitches on your loop, or on your hook I mean, instead of the normal 3. We'll yarn over and pull through all 4 of those loops. And what we did is we decreased by 1/2 double crochet. Now we're going to have double crochet in each of the stitches across until we come to those last 2 half double crochets. So here's my last 2 stitches. Yarn over, go in the first stitch and pull up a loop. Then we go in the next stitch and pull up a loop. Yarn over and go through all 4 of those loops. Chain 1 and turn. And now we're going to do that again. On this row we had 17 and now we have 15 stitches. Yarn over, go in the first stitch and pull up a loop. Go in the next stitch and pull up a loop. Yarn over and go through all 3. And so now again we're going to half double crochet across until we reach those last 2 stitches. Oops, there we go. Sometimes the yarn just wants to slip right off my hook. All right, we're to the last 2 stitches on this side. So yarn over, go in the next stitch, pull up a loop, then we go in the last stitch and pull up a loop, yarn over and go through all 3 loops. And now we have 13 stitches instead of 15. So we had 17, 15, now 13. Again, we'll stitch that half double crochet decrease, 1 stitch in each of the half double crochets across. Oops, there we go. Now 1 more, and then we'll stitch the last 2 together. Chain 1 and turn. And this is the last one that we're going to do, the last row. Yarn over and we'll do our half double crochet decrease, or stitching 2 half double crochets together. Then we'll stitch a half double crochet until we reach the last 2. There's our last 2 stitches, and we'll stitch those 2 together. And now it's time to tie off. So we went from 17 to 15 to 13 to 11, and we ended with 9 half double crochets. And you're going to need to make 2. You need a front and a back to make your puppet. Now we're going to stitch our puppet together. You need to take your puppet and make sure your right sides are facing out. And that would mean that the side with your front posts are facing out on that both sides. All right? And we'll just line them up. We're going to attach our yarn at the bottom where we first started. And we're going to do what's called even single crochet across. And that can be a little bit confusing. Let me bring my camera in so you can see how I do it. So what we will be doing is stitching single crochets, stitching the front and the back together, going up all the way around the arms, around the top of the head, all the way around the other arm, and back down here. Because we won't be stitching the bottom, because that's where our hand needs to go inside. All right, so we're going to be stitching single crochets. And we want to make sure that when we go on the side that we're going through a stitch, get that string out of the way there, and not a hole, because we don't want any gaping holes in the side. So we try to find that side of the stitch on this side, and stitch our single crochet. When you're doing rows of half double crochet, I like to try to get 1 stitch in the end of each row, trying to go through a side of a stitch and not a hole. Now, there is not a set number of stitches that you need to have. You just have to look at it and practice a little bit. Make sure your stitches aren't too close together and that they're not too far apart. You want it to look pretty and neat. You don't want any gaping holes, and you don't want it to be too clumped up. When you come to the part that's underneath the arms in these inside corners, you're going to have to just ease around those stitches so that you don't have a hole and that every stitch is caught. And one nice thing about these is we've chained and done stitches on the bottom here, so you can put your stitches right in those stitches. And it's just going to ease around that curve. And we'll do this working all the way around the arms, up around the head, and then all the way back down here. Working evenly, single crochets around your puppet. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you is the end of the paw. Get my string coming through there. There we go. Make sure everything's lined up on that corner, and you'll just go right around that corner. Just sort of ease around it, adjusting the ends of the paw as you go. As you want it to come around, and then you want it to come around this way. And you do both the paws the same, and the inside of the corner, just ease around, working all the way around your puppet. I've evenly single crocheted all the way around, stitching the back and the front together. So now I can slide my hand up inside and have my puppet. So we'll go ahead and cut our yarn and weave in our ends. Now I'm going to be making this puppet into a kitty, so I'm going to show you how to do the snout next and the paws, and then I'll start showing you how to do all the different ears, starting with the kitty. Alright, so I'm just weaving my ends to the inside of my puppet just to tidy it up. I'm using white for the snout of my kitty cat. We're going to make a slip knot. We're going to chain 2, and then we're going to place 6 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. So we'll go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through both loops. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We'll join to that first single crochet and chain 1, and then we'll place 2 single crochets in each of those 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. We'll join to that first single crochet. And then now we're just going to place 1 single crochet in each of these 12 single crochets around. All right, so there's my chain 1, and I'm going to stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. I'm going to join to that first single crochet with a slip stitch. I'm going to tie off and leave myself a little bit of yarn because I'm going to use this to attach that to my animal. This snout is the one that's used on all of the puppet animals. All right, now before we attach it, we want to close that little hole in the center. So we'll take our needle and we'll just stitch around that first row of single crochet and just close up that hole in the center. We want to weave this in anyway, so now we're closing the hole and weaving it in at the same time. All right, now this is the kitty that we're doing, but I want to show you the other one just so you can see. We're going to attach the little snout, we're going to make the little nose and mouth, and then we're going to make the little eyes. So we're going to thread our needle on that tail of yarn. We're going to make sure this is on the right side, and then we'll decide where we want it, which is about right there. And I scrunch this up, and then I just stitch around those edges. Now we want it to have just a little bit of a 3D look, and so by the way that it's shaped, it will pooch out just a little bit. If it's not pooching out enough and you want it to be just standing up just a little bit more, you can always stuff just a little bit of extra white yarn in there, or a little bit of batting or stuffing if you want to. I don't think it's necessary. I think it lays just perfect. But I have had some people in the past who have made the puppets say it's not standing out enough and they want it to stand out just a little more. And again, you can do that by adding a little bit of stuffing to it. All right, I'm just going back around because I got a little extra yarn there. Might as well make it stay. All right, now I'm going to bring that to the inside of my puppet and just weave that in. We want it to be nice and secure because you know a puppet's going to be played with. We don't want that little snout to come off, do we? Oops, lost my yarn. All right. So now our kitty has a snout. There we go. Next I'm going to take my brown yarn because that's what I'm going to use for the nose of my kitty and the eyes and the mouth. And I'm going to cut myself off about 18 inches. I'm going to come in from underneath and come right up to the side there because I want to make a little triangle nose, sorry. I want to make sure I've got some yarn on the inside that I can weave in later. And so I'm just going to make that little triangle nose first just to get my shape. Look at it, make sure I like how it looks. It's not quite as triangle-y as I would like it. I'm going to go ahead and fill it in, and maybe that will help it with the shape. And we'll just take some stitches and fill that in. Okay, and then I'm going to go at the bottom. I'm going to make a straight line. And then I'm going to make another straight line. There we go. We'll go right in here. And then I'm going to go up on this edge. Of course, there's my little mouth. So I pulled up through the edge of the snout for the eye. I'm going to make just a little stitch. It's going to go through the puppet portion. It's like that. Now we're going to wrap 3 times and go right back in. We want to pull this gently because we don't want to lose that French knot. There we go. So there's one eye. Side where I want the other one. There we go. My nose is sticking out a little bit. And we'll do the same thing. We'll go through some of those stitches. And that just helps it secure. And now we want to make a French knot for this eye. So 3 wraps. Make sure you don't wrap too tightly. And go right back in. And I like to go in the fiber of that stitch so we don't lose that French knot. There we go. Just gently pull that. So there's the 2 eyes. Here's our little snout, little nose, and smile. And now I need to weave that in on the inside. Alright, we're going to do the paws real quick, and then we're going to do the ears. I've got my white yarn out. I've got about 18 inches of yarn threaded on my needle. And we want to make sure that we don't go too far in because we've got to have room for our fingers when we're doing our puppet. And so we're just going to come in from the back, leave a little bit there for weaving in, and we're just going to loop that. There we go. And we'll go down just a little bit. There we go. We'll make 2 loops. Then we'll come right back in here and weave that in. And then we'll do that on the other paw as well. I made one of the kitty ears and I went ahead and attached it. And I'll show you how to make the kitty's ear. Because remember, kitties need 2 ears. We're going to begin with our slip knot and we're going to chain 2. We're going to place 3 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. So we'll go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through both loops. 1, 2, and 3 single crochets, chain 1. Now for row 2 on here, we're just going to place 1 single crochet in each of those 3. So 1, 2, 3. Chain 1. And now in this row, we're going to place 2 single crochets in the first single crochet. We'll chain 1, and then we'll place 2 single crochets in the last single crochet. Chain 1. So we had 3, now we have 5. We're going to turn and place a single crochet in each of those 5 single crochets. Chain 1 and turn. We're going to place a single crochet in each of those single crochets. And now we're going to turn, working up to the point of the kitty's ear and then back down. So we'll place an even row of single crochets up the side. Then when we get to the top, we're going to stitch 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Then we'll evenly single crochet back down the other side of the kitty ear. There we go. Now we're in that last one, and we'll join, and we're going to tie off, but we're going to need to leave ourselves about 18 inches of yarn to sew it onto the kitty puppet. Before we do that, we need to take a second and weave in where we started. All right, now we want the kitty's ears to be up high. We'll thread that on. Try to get it even with the other one. And then we'll just lay it up there and just whip stitch it on right across the top. And then I like to just go back again, because I figure these little ears might be pulled on and played with if the puppet is pulled on and played with, and we don't want those ears to come off. And this is how you attach all the ears. Whether they're bear, bunny, or puppy, they're going to be attached to that single crochet row at the top. And then I'm just going to weave that in so it doesn't come out. All right, and that's the kitty ears. To make the teddy bear ears, it's super simple. We're going to make a slip knot. We're going to chain 5. We're going to half double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll go in, pull up a loop, and stitch a half double crochet. Now we're going to stitch 8 more so we have a circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that first 3 chains counted as our first, and then we stitch 9 more for 10. We're going to join with a slip stitch. We'll leave ourselves a long tail of yarn to be able to sew that onto our bear. And again, we'll close that hole up like we did before. So here's our teddy bear. We made 2 of these round teddy bear ears, and we attached them onto the teddy bear the same way we did with the kitty cat. We have our long tail of yarn, we set it up here, and we whip stitched it on. And now it's a teddy bear. The bunny ear and the puppy dog ear are made exactly the same. The only difference is the bunny ear has 1 more row of single crochet. And I'm going to show you how to make that ear that works for both the dog and the bunny. We'll begin with our slip knot. We'll chain 2. And again, like we did with the kitty ear, we're going to stitch 3 single crochets in that 2nd chain from the hook. Chain 1 and turn. We're going to place 1 single crochet in those 3 single crochets. Chain 1 and turn. We're going to place 2 single crochets in the 1st single crochet, 1 single crochet in the next, and then 2 single crochets in the next. Chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to place 1 single crochet in those 5 single crochets. chain 1, and turn. If you're making dog ears, you're going to repeat this for 5 more rows. 1 single crochet in each of those single crochets, chain 1 and turn. If you're making the bunny ears, you're going to repeat it for 6 more rows. 1 single crochet in each of the single crochets across, chain 1 and turn. Once you've reached the length that you want, whether you're doing a puppy or a bunny, we're going to do exactly like we did with the kitty, and we're just going to single crochet evenly up to the point, and when you reach the point, you'll place 3 single crochets in that point. 1, string out of the way, 2 and 3, and then single crochet evenly back down the side. And again, this is whether you're doing a bunny or a puppy ear. And again, the only difference is the bunny ear has 1 more row of single crochet to make it just a little bit longer. And you can add more if you want your bunny ear to be even longer. All right, and then again, cut, tie off, and attach it to your puppet. Now, with the bunny ear, I gave it just a little bit of a pinch and attached it right next to each other, right on top with those whip stitches. With the puppy ear, I spread them out, and if you want them to stand up straight like a chihuahua, they can, or if you want them to flop down like a regular puppy, they can as well. Now, we finished all the ears, and the last thing we need to do is that little bow tie. I'm going to be making my bow tie out of this yellow, so I'm just going to take the yarn and wrap it around my fingers about 12 times. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'll just cut that. Then I'll cut a piece of yarn that's about 12 inches long. I'll take this and put it right in the center. And tie that. Make sure it's going to say stay secure. I'm going to clip off that long end that we don't want sticking out. And then we'll just take it and attach it wherever we want. Do we want the bow tie right there? Maybe it's a little girl and you want to put the bow tie up here. So then you just take your crochet hook, pull 1 yarn through, pull the other yarn through, if that's where you want it. I'm going to put that one on the ear just because I think it's cute, and I'll just tie a nice bow in the back so it's going to stay secure. If you attached it to the neck, make sure you don't go through both thicknesses of the puppet or you won't be able to get your hand inside. Alright, so there's our kitty cat we made today. She looks a little more like a bear. I should have put her ears up just a little bit higher, but she's still super cute. So here's our bear, our puppy, our bunny. Here's another puppy, our kitty cat, and our lavender purple kitty cat we made today. These puppets are so much fun to make, and they make great gifts. And if you make them out of cotton, you can put them in the bathtub.